that was fun. That had some flour. Looks like an ear piercer. Hi everyone, I'm Meredith Abbott and welcome to Sur La Table. Today I am making a Lattice-Topped Nectarine Cherry Pie. For this recipe, you'll need homemade pie crust, nectarines, cherries, lemon, an egg, brown sugar, cinnamon, all-purpose flour, and heavy cream. To make the filling, I'm going to start by preparing my nectarines and cherries. For the nectarines, I am using a fruit tool that is made to pit stone fruit. It is a must when you are pitting a lot of fruit, makes quick work. So hold your nectarine sturdy to your cutting board, center the tool over the stem, and start to wiggle your way down. You might feel a little resistance, and that's as it's moving itself around the pit. Just keep wiggling until you feel it come all the way through. Pull it out, carefully pop out the core, and work your way through and repeat this process on all of your nectarines. Now that all of the cores are out, cut your nectarine in half. Some slices, we're looking for 1 inch or so pieces, kind of bite-sized pieces of your nectarines. You can also use peaches, white peaches, yellow peaches, white nectarines, yellow nectarines, plums, apricots, pluots, whatever your heart desires. This is a great formula. Just substitute in your favorite stone fruit. And same with the cherries. You could substitute those with berries if you'd like. Leave the skin on. You do not need to remove the skin for this pie. You can use frozen fruit for this pie as well. Just make sure that it's thawed and drained of any excess liquid before mixing. So I've got all my nectarines cut up. I'm using my favorite tool, the bench scraper, to move the nectarine into a large mixing bowl. For the cherries, I'm using a cherry pitter. Now, if you get any fruit tools, I feel like this is the one you need. Pitting cherries with a knife is very, very hard. To use the cherry pitter, set the cherry in this bottom holder with the stem side up and position this plunger to the stem. Squeeze, and the pit pops right out. If your cherries have stems, just pop the stems off. Now that my cherries are pitted, I'm just going to cut them in half. I want everything to kind of be the same size so that it bakes at the same time, and also just everything's consistent sizes as you bite into them. Great, now all of my halved cherries go into the bowl with my nectarines. And now I'm ready to finish the filling. To a large bowl full of the fruit, I'm going to add flour. The flour is going to help thicken all of those juices that's going to release from the fruit and then make this glorious silky filling and not too runny. Cinnamon and brown sugar. I really like brown sugar for this recipe. It gives more of a caramel flavor to the recipe instead of just sugar. So it's adding a depth of flavor to balance out with the really sweet fruit. I need some lemon zest, about a teaspoon or so. I love microplane for this. I just set it over my bowl and run my lemon over, being very careful not to get my fingers. And I'm just pulling off the super yellow outside of this because that's where all of that delicious lemon flavor is. And now I just need a little lemon juice. I like a citrus press for this because it will catch any seeds, and just a little, like a half a squeeze. Just to help give it a little bit more liquid to start with. And mix. Just toss gently, break up your brown sugar if it's a little harder. That tends to happen. It's okay, just use your fingers to crumble it up. this is ready. Just set it aside until you're ready to fill your pie dough with it. I have my pie dough rolled. I'm gonna check the size of it. Looks like I have about an inch overhang. I'm gonna roll it just a few more times. Take my pin. Couple more turns. There we go. And how I like to get my pie dough into the pie plate, set my pin on the dough, just gently roll it onto the pin, set it aside, grab my plate, and drape it back over. I'm going to gently press this in, trying not to make any finger marks into the pie dough. There we go, lovely. I'm not going to trim this yet because I'm going to fill it, then make a lattice top on top of it. So this now goes into the refrigerator and go ahead and put it onto my rimmed baking sheet lined with parchment that I will be baking it on later. So into the fridge it goes. So I have a square piece of dough that I prepared and rolled out earlier, and this is what I'm going to use for my lattice top. So unfold it gently, carefully. So I'm gonna roll this out into a large square or rectangle, and this is what I'm going to use to cut my strips for the weaving for the pie top. I'm not trying to keep this into a circle, so I'm just gonna go back and forth, trying to keep it as square as possible, and roll it to a 14 by 12 inch rectangle, as close to a rectangle as possible. Trying to keep your pie as even as possible in thickness so that the strips, once woven, all cook at the same rate. Great. And there we are. I'm going to use a fluted pastry cutter. This tool is great. I like the fluted look. It just looks a little bit more special, so I'm going to use this to cut strips out of my pie dough. Because I'm cutting strips, I need this to be an actual rectangle. So I'm just trimming off some of these edges and I'm patching that space where it tapers in. So you can use your fingertips to pinch this together. We just want it to be a rectangle. Okay, double check my work. 14 inches wide, that is an important dimension to hit because we need 14 strips and each strip is going to be about an inch wide. So I'm not very good at eyeballing that, so I'm going to use the ruler on my pin. You can use a clean ruler that you have in your house. I like to start at one end, and I'm just going to make a little mark with my knife every inch. I am not good at eyeballing things, so I like to use a measure. I'm also going to mark it on the other side too, so I know where to end my cuts. So I've got my guide notches. I'm going to use my fluted. Start there and run through and try to meet it at the other side. And you're going to cut all your strips like so. See, even with my guides, I get off a little bit, but that's okay. Like so. This last one's gonna be a bit thinner and that's okay. And voila. You have 14 roughly inch thick strips. Now we're ready to get our dough that's in the refrigerator back out. We're gonna fill it and weave our pie top. I have my bottom pie crust that's in the pie plate that's been chilling for about 10 to 15 minutes. Before I add my filling into it, I'm going to make sure that the crust is all the way to the side of the plate, that there's no air gaps in there, and I just use kind of the flat part of my hand or the sides of my fingers just to make sure. In goes our filling into the pie. The filling should be mounded slightly because as it bakes, it's going to reduce in size. So if you need to even out some parts, that's fine, but it is a-okay to have it mounded in the center. Now I'm gonna start building the lattice. So I'm gonna start with my strips all going in one direction. I need 7 strips. I'm gonna start in the middle And if they're a little short, you can always tug on them slightly to stretch them because you want it to touch one side of the pie to the other side of the pie crust. Leave a little bit of a gap. We're gonna start with 7 strips in one direction, not pressing them to the other pie crust. We need to be able to flip these up, and I'll show you why. I'm gonna take my kind of funny end scrap and set it here on the side. So now we're going to do the weaving. We're going to start by flipping every other strip up halfway or so, like that. I'm gonna take one of your strips and lay it across. Flip those strips down. And now you're going to flip up the opposite strips up over top, like so. Take another strip, lay it down, and keep repeating this process. I have an extra one, that's okay. I left a little bit more of a gap. Now I'm going to crimp my edges. So take this bottom pie crust and turn it up onto itself. That's also sealing our lattice. And I'm gonna pinch, I'm gonna do that all the way around. If it's getting really thick, you could always trim a little bit of it off. And by really thick, I mean like it won't even turn over onto itself. Keep turning this up onto itself. And now I'm going to make that kind of nice fluted edge. Start anywhere on the plate. I take my pointer finger, press down, take my pointer finger and my thumb of my other side and squeeze it around my finger. Repeat. I'm also pressing down to kind of adhere the pie crust to the rim of the pie plate. Work your way around. Crimping the edges does a couple things. You don't have to do this method. You could take a fork and press the 2 crusts together if you like that look. I'm going to now put this into the refrigerator to chill a little bit because my top crust is a little soft and we want it to be nice and chilled before we get it ready to go into the oven. My pie has been chilling for 30 minutes. Now all I need to do before it goes in the oven is mix my egg wash, brush it on top, and it's ready to go. This is an egg yolk and milk egg wash. The mixture of the two is going to yield a really nice golden brown crust. Some cream, whisk it together. You want to lightly coat just your dough with this egg wash, but you don't want the egg wash to be too thick. It can kind of turn into scrambled eggs on top. At this point, if you felt like it, you could sprinkle some sparkling sugar or just regular granulated sugar on top of your dough before it goes in the oven. Mine is ready to go into a 350-degree oven. Okay, I now have my baked pie. It's been cooling for about 50 minutes. This is what you're looking for, this nice, deep, golden, shiny brown around the outside of your crust. To serve, I would slice this, serve my guests. I would serve whipped cream alongside of it or delicious ice cream of any flavor that you like. Perfect for any occasion. For recipe videos, cooking classes, and more, visit surlataub.com. Enjoy!